Budget Workshop, October 24th, 2017.
If Rick was here, he'd take all the Kit Kats. He was hunting for Kit Kats, I think, yesterday.
Oh, really?
Everybody ready?
Got a raucous crowd today.
I think we're ready. Good.
We'll go ahead and open our second day of budgets today, Tuesday, and we'll start off with IS, and then we're making no decisions today to speak of. It's all depends on how it comes out after next week. We're trying to see what our revenue is. So even start off with your revenues, please, Kevin.
Really not much change from last year. Keep the numbers pretty much the same. There is one 800-pound road that we need to talk about. So with our service work and our typical telephone card mechanisms through the last year.
I just noticed on some of your revenues that, like last year you had a working budget on Riz for $4,600 and you only got $1,500 this year.
Oh, that's because in previous years, Public Works would bill all of Linda Santos' time. She was the GS person at the time. All the time was paid for by the prisoners. And so every month, every quarter, we gave a chunk of her salary. That changed when she left last year. And they now just bill for actual service. So if their person only works on behalf of us for 10 hours, we only pay 10 hours. That's why that increases it.
There's just a few of them in your revenues here that telecommunication charges, you dropped it $1,300 and
between 16 and 17, so
well, it's non-Franklin County IS telecommunication charges, it looks like, and then 16 actual was 6,300, 17 working was 5, and you got 5 this year again. So
we kept those the same across the board because it's just kind of prediction. It depends on what we're charged as far as usage, on what we're going to turn around and charge the departments. So we kept those all the same. They kind of go back and forth. And when we did change the service work,
okay,
we changed that to 20,000, where we cut it at 10 in the past, just because of what we brought in this year. As far as it's really not consistent on what service work is done with the guys going out and doing the work, so we're just kind of conservative instead of on the higher end revenue.
It is a guess. There's no way we can anticipate what kind of problem.
yeah, okay.
We have a copy of what we've actually brought in here today, which brings it all that closer to what we budgeted.
It looks like you brought in 29,000 for service work.
For service work, we brought in actual year-to-date, we brought in $30,965.64. We only put it at $20,000 because there are some changes in the billing that are going to take place next year. There's going to be an increase in the hourly service work, but we were billing a 15% admin fee that is not going to be done anymore. So I believe that's going to be a little bit of a drop instead of a base hourly rate. That's admin time.
It's not gonna be an offset raise in the,
I think that 15% is going to be a lot. It's bringing in a lot more than the flat rate.
Yeah, that percentage was really designed to capture her time. But we'll process a $10 invoice and we'll process a $20,000 or $30,000 invoice. Her time does not change based on the amount of the invoice. But some of those admin fees were staggering. And we got so much pushback that we decided to just, instead of charging that 15%, we're just going to charge her actual time. So it'll be an hour or whatever it turns out to be on each transaction. It's more realistic, I think, that way. You know, we were having a lot of pushback where people were wanting to try to avoid going through us with certain things. And we certainly don't want that. So we're just making that strategic change. We'll see how it goes next year. We visit it next year.
did you say you were gonna raise the fees though too?
That's for the service.
The hourly rate, the hourly rate, yes. The rate, and that's our annual.
Okay. But those two numbers won't offset each other.
I don't know.
I don't think so, because the 15% is making a big difference because it's based on the purchase price. Our service work right now is $30 an hour for a tech, and it's going up to $45.
And then again next year. It's $55, and we're waiting time.
Well, that's what we're talking about here is next year, so.
Well, in 18, it's going up to 45. In 19, it will go up to 55. And we've already told it to go down.
Well, and that's what I'm getting at. You've collected $29,000 this year already, and that's obviously through 9/30, so that's, you got 3 more months left. And you say you're going to raise your hourly rate $10 an hour, but eliminate the 15%. So don't those two equal out the?
I think you're close. I can't really say that it's going to be a 100% wash, but I think you're close.
So I guess what I'm saying is I think that 20,000 you got here is still a little bit low, the way you're explaining it.
So we put in the budget last year 10,000, we're saying this year 20,000, but we brought in 30.
I guess the way you're explaining it, I could see adding another 10 to that line item pretty easily from the numbers I see here and what you're talking about, the raise in fees and the raise in the deduction, but
we can raise it, it's a guess, I personally think that 50% is bringing in more revenue than what our hourly rate is going to bring in. So sometimes you have, just based on our purchase price, we're not going to have that in. It'll be $30 versus $200 to invoice. So the service work just depends on what they need done out in the departments. So we don't really know what's actually going to be, what's going to be done on that.
We can certainly raise it back up, but again, it's a guess. We just try to be on the conservative side.
well, I can understand that too. I just with what you're taking in and the way you're explaining the differences for next year. So What do you think, Keith?
Has your service work been steady, increase, decrease through 2017?
It's a hit and miss, kind of what problems that we have. I haven't looked at the trend this year. If that's what you're asking, I can't say that it's trending up.
Well, it looks like in 2016, we brought in, the actual was 19,000. 15 was 12,000, 16 was 19,000. And then, so yes, it has been.
It's trending up.
This year is the biggest.
Well, this year.
Well,
Think about
both. I'm really asking both. Is there any indication that your work's going to slow down, I guess? I don't see it either. You've already got it 30,000 this year. You still got at least 2 months of billing left. The primary factor that's going to change for next year is the changing it from the code to direct billing rate versus the 50% overhead charge.
In these line items, yes.
Yeah.
I could foresee raising to 10 anyway, and still be.
Right up 30.
All right.
Okay. And of course, the salaries on the expenditure side, salaries and benefits are preloaded.
I go back to one revenue line, the dispatch revenue, salary, benefits.
Yeah.
Ready to talk about that one?
Yeah.
I've got a spreadsheet here. The difficulty with this is our revenue is going to change based on when dispatch consolidates. So I've got a spreadsheet here of that. On the screen.
My first question is about 2017. We have a $180,000 budget. We're going to collect 50% of that.
That's probably
Is that just a timing issue? Okay.
We filled out the search for it, we just haven't gotten it.
Okay.
So what this spreadsheet shows is how much revenue we will collect based on what month consolidation happens. We actually think it's going to happen this year after fighting this battle for 7+ years and some of the closest we're hoping we've ever been. The target is July 1 now, but it was May now, July. So this spreadsheet is laid out to show under revenues collected. So let's say if that both consolidate in the 1st of July, it shows we will collect 111,000, and we'll leave on the table 79,530 under the July column. So it shows what we have collected, and it will show what we have not collected based on the budgeted amount. So, yeah, we think it's going to happen in July, but we just don't know. If it happens in October, then obviously we collected more and left less on the table. But at this point, it's something out of my control. So we get money from dispatch for general IT work, for mapping work. All of the telecom engineer wages are covered by dispatch. So going all the way for 100% paid out of dispatch. All of that's going to go away. With the exception, I believe there's like either 10,000 or 13,000 that we can still collect from state 911 for mapping. So, that's the flat amount. You know, Rick Roswell, the sheriff's department has to verify that, but historically, that's what we've been getting from Matthew. Just a flat fee on top of the salary. So, Tom, Tim, does this make sense?
Yes.
This is revenue you get from the other current expense department, 560. In turn, they collected from state taxes
Yes.
from the 911 fund.
And so then there won't be any corresponding expenditure reduction when things go away too, or?
Well, we still have the salary.
Brian's salary is still $1 million radio system has to be maintained. So,
Can I ask you a question?
Concern there is what are we putting for the revenue for next year? You're showing as if this our spreadsheet showing as if this that consolidation does not occur. So the 190 is probably not an accurate reflection of what our expectations are for next year.
What we turned in was
Oh,
different. We had
yeah.
dispatch.
Right.
yes, I didn't know how to explain that
Yeah.
without doing this.
So would we lower dispatch expenses, though, if we're going to go back to a July 1st date? There would be a corresponding decrease in the 560 expenditures? Or?
Well, on the 560 submittal too, it was submitted essentially for the whole year. Just going with the assumption it was going to be throughout the year, even if it wasn't.
So right now it's a wash, bottom line.
But I mean, most of the money from this is coming from 139 though, E911.
The salary for Brian, the telecom engineer, I don't know if it comes from 560 or from 139. It comes from a cost per call, $3 charge on top of every call, and for the different agencies, and that pays his salary and other things.
The money coming in is from 139.
Kevin, help us understand, make sure we're clear on why we can't continue to bill 139 for those services.
Right now, we provide certain services to dispatch because we have a dispatch. Once we no longer have a dispatch center, there's another service for us to provide. And that's just talking about the CAD system and the 911 room, the 911 telephone equipment, all that kind of stuff. That will no longer be our responsibility once we consolidate. So obviously, we're not providing a service. We're not declaring revenue. So that doesn't cover any, sheriff's vehicles. We still support those and install equipment and create equipment, whatever. But that's a local agency function. It's not a dispatch function.
Okay.
So I wish I had a better answer for that one. I don't know. Right now, the target is July 1st. If you want to plug that in, maybe update it as we get closer. It's not
Okay. thousand? The expectation, consolidation.
And if that target changes, we'll have to go with it.
Looks like July 1.
So maybe there wouldn't be a relationship on the dispatch side. If you lower your billing, maybe it doesn't affect their expenses, because if they move across the river, right, we're still going to have to pay a fee for services that we're basically doing in salaries and benefits now, so this may not affect their payments to you, it sounds like.
Well, a little bit of change stuff.
Right.
So, maybe I'm not understanding. Once consolidation happens, we will no longer provide the service, and therefore we no longer.
We're going to be paying Benton County or
Correct.
whichever, right, for the
Correct.
services.
The county will pay CCOM.
Mm-hmm.
We have to share. Next question. Not a pretty picture, but it's reality.
You were wanting to reduce that in half, correct?
Well, let's see. Are these beginning of month dates or end of month?
Yes.
So it's actually 95,437 would be the expected revenue.
Yep. That's what I have in here right now.
Drop that to 95 then, realistically.
Now,
You guys got that?
Yep.
Getting down the expenses, I see your office and operating just kept it at 18, but you've spent 1770 already.
To date, as of yesterday, we spent 1894, but the bottom line budget, now we're at one line, is a little low. So I think it's fine if we leave it. There's really only one line that's increasing. Talk about it right now.
Okay.
That's our maintenance agreement line. First of all, there's three things. I think I have this right now. three things that are on there right now that are just putting as placeholders. They have not been approved to the board yet, so they would not be considered fixed costs. One of them is for the assessor's office, and I know he mentioned it for his budget meeting yesterday, and I asked him to come in here to talk about some more. That's $27,000. So that has not been approved. It's not a contract. It's enforced yet.
Is 27 is a one-time cost?
That's 27 one time, I think 12 ongoing. And by ongoing, we figure in about a 5% increase every year. Pretty close to that. So 19, in 2019, that would drop to about 12,000.
What else is in there?
There's an additional 8,100 for a product called Albert. We belong to a cybersecurity organization that is part of Homeland Security, and we get all kinds of alerts from them of things out in the wild that we need to guard our network from. And that's a free service. This is a paid service from them that is actually installs software on our network, and it will scan our network continuously, and it will tell us that a particular computer is been reporting to these known bad sites. Right now, we don't know we have a problem until we have a problem. And then we have to go into react mode and communicate that problem. This software would help us be proactive to know ahead of time when bad things are coming our way. It's not something that we run through the board. It's not an active contract. It's something that we would like to do next year. And then there's one other thing. It's for 1950 that's not approved, although we are going to probably run it through the board next week. We have a device on our network that provides the ability for people to get county data on their mobile devices, their iPads, phones, and whatever. Without that server, that function goes away. And the one we have now is 10, 11 years old, it's aging, it's not supported anymore. If it were to crash, people would be down for 3 weeks, 4 weeks probably. So we don't want that to happen. So again, that is coming before the board next week. But it's not in force today. There's one other item for 10,000 that we didn't budget for last year because when we renewed, we did for 3 years, back in 2015, I think it was. So we haven't had to pay that money for 3 years, and now we have to pay it. That's 10,000. It's for the antivirus. And there was a huge jump in our maintenance for the X-ray scanning machines out in the security buildings, just because they're aging out, the vendor has skyrocketed the annual support on them. So it's $4,200 more than last year.
the sheriff has a request in for a replacement X-ray machine. So would those costs go down? Would they stay level with,
No, I think they would go back down.
go back down with that?
I don't remember seeing the numbers on that. I did, but I'll probably it's substantial. But we still have one old one. We replaced the one. So the maintenance on that one will be high.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I can replace them both at the same time, but that's chunk of change. Then there's $4,750 in just generic increases from various different contracts. Every year we solicit a quote from the vendors as to what maintenance will be the next year. If they don't respond, we bill them 5%, and we're pretty much right on the money. Several responded.
Not everybody does, no, they're good for something, yeah.
Some people don't respond until December, long after our budget's set or whatever. But we bill them 5%. And we're right on the money.
So we're asking for a total of $66,000 increase in the maintenance and baseline. And it spells out each one of those costs.
But you said 4,700 was
4750 was just generic inflation cost increases.
the ones we already have that we're doing right now.
4,750.
Listed in the binder.
The only other change request we have is a decrease in the GIS mapping, 4,750. The rest of the expenditures are requested to stay the same.
This one?
She just said that she was decreasing.
You want to approve a decrease?
Thoughts?
The rest of the items are capital requests, non-basic requests. The desktop computer replacement for 33,000. How many machines is that?
That is 33. That number's pretty low, but gave it 33. The priority twos, I think are highlighted in pink. Those could be pulled out. I think that's the discussion you and myself and Jeff were ahead.
So the upgrades to Windows and the Microsoft, is that a like to do, or is that something that they're not going to support and we have to do it?
It's already back in the life, it's not supposed to be. A lot of the alerts that we do in the day, we get them multiple a day, and we do the cybersecurity organization. Some of them warn of dangers out in the wild that come in with Microsoft Office products, documents. Once a Office product or a Windows version goes out of support, bad guys then can target them because they don't know if they're not getting those security updates. So you never want to run unsupported software. We're that way right now. Now, however, Keith, and again, you and I had this conversation, that 73 could be down to dropping to 59. We were in a conversation about the whole county or just targeted. The folks still want to 2007. So that could be used to 59 if we chose not to upgrade the whole county.
Any questions, Commissioner?
That's all I have.
Anything else we need to know?
No, I just want to add in that, when we, sometimes these lump numbers look pretty high in capital, but just know that we maximize every dollar. Just because something could get replaced, doesn't mean we replace it. Some of the couple items on here never switches, they're 14, 15 years old. So, we don't come frivolously and ask things just because it's the neatest new tool thing. So I just want to throw that in.
Kevin, before you leave, on your capital items, the phone system, the third annual payment of $65.5, that's the only one that we're already contractually obligated to, correct? The rest of these items are necessary, but we don't have a contractual, legal obligation yet.
Yes, I want to.
Is that fair to say it that way?
Yes,
65.5.
65. Yes, that one we are contractually obligated. That would be payment number 3 of our 5-year lease.
So would I be good to put a yes on that one?
For now.
Yes, and all.
How about the 4750 and normal software maintenance? Just increased costs. Part of that 66,000.
Need to talk about Tim?
The 4816 repair and maintenance, software maintenance, I've got 66,000, there's 4750 that's just normal cost increases.
Requirements.
Inflation.
You're essentially contractually obligated to pay those.
We're gonna have to pay what they bill us, we budgeted for the cost.
And then the rest of that 66,000 is for new requests.
Correct.
Well, actually, you know what, let's go back to that. Just remember. There are two lines that, on the sheet that was submitted, the 1, 2, 4, and 5. Those were things that we are contractually obligated for that we weren't paying last year. When we installed our new telephone system, that came with 5 years worth of maintenance. However, when we started installing things, we found out that the vendor did not include enough, I don't know what the items were, but enough speakers in the ceilings or whatever. So we had to make decisions, we had to buy what we needed, not understanding that there's going to be an ongoing expense. So there's about $5,000 that's an ongoing expense we're already obligated for, at least through this year. We'll reevaluate it, maybe drop maintenance on those items in 2019. It's just too new to us, and we don't know if we should do that or not. So that's about $5,000.
What line is that, Kevin?
Well, on that one,
It's part of the 4816.
the two line items, 2,600 and 2,500.
Okay.
Repairs and maintenance.
You brought a couple lines down to 4,300. That is something we did not have last year. We do have this year, and it did go through board for approval earlier this year.
As far as the new requests on this maintenance agreement line, to make it a little easier to understand, the 1950 increase, 1,950, the 8,100, and then the 27,000 that Kevin talked about, those are the three new requests. Everything else in that 66,000 are current contracts that we plan on going forward with larger increases other than the 4,750 smaller 5% here and there. So it says on the sheet that we turned in over to in the parentheses, it was an actual new request, so there should be 3 of those. The actual visits is a committed one, an increase of $4,200. Unless they replace the X-ray machine, we don't have numbers for that. We just got numbers on all the sites.
That X-ray scanners, that doesn't come through security.
Maintenance comes out of our budget evaluation.
And we're actually the ones that did the RFP and the purchase and installation. We didn't have a security department at that time. We maintain them in that if somehow work we get involved, we will investigate. If it's something we handle, we do it. If not, we follow them. Coordinate their site visits.
So Commissioner, is there anything of that 66,000 you want added as ongoing commitments?
Just requirements, ones that we've got to. Jenna, which one did you highlight?
Well, I think she said everything but the three new,
Yeah.
which, I mean, I can,
But one of those new is one that's coming through the board next week. Right, the ASR, the resolution page.
Okay. So then 27,000 and the 8,100 are the two new requests. $35,100 out of the 66,000
I have 28,950 as ongoing request, not new ones. 66,000 minus 1950 minus 8,100 minus 27,000.
Yes.
Yes.
But again, that 1950, submitting that to the board next week, if they approve it, then that will be a commitment.
Yeah. Okay.
The 1950 for the road application, costs and there's your updates. Is that 1950 an annual cost, or is that just another one time?
No. And again, that would be subjected to whatever inflationary increases we have. Oh. Forgot about that. Okay. So I bring you some more data. The 1950, I guess, can go away. She just reminded me that when we make the request next week, it includes 2 years of maintenance. So we wouldn't see a budget line for that until.
Okay.
Okay.
Guys ready? So I see your sheet here, almost 300K for capitals.
Tom, Tim, did you guys on the capital, did you guys strike or try to recruit on this bill?
So those ones can be removed completely.
The pink one,
Okay.
about 35 grand.
I thought you said that, but I didn't want
What's the thing?
to.
those are items that, after we had put in our budget, we had an internal discussion and decided to pay those elsewhere. So we removed that from the capital.
Paid out of the SunGard project capital account.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, we would address it in capital and reserve that money in the project. That's your folks' decision.
I think so.
Yep, we're good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We can argue against this next one. We can argue against this next one.
Yeah, it will be up here. That's good. You see him sneaking in there. What's the velvet box? Okay, did you have one of these, Jeff? It's basically all of them in one shot. Oh, perfect. Thank you.
Look it up for these people.
Yeah, I think maybe probably sitting up here. And, yeah.
Tab 9 in the notebook and page 3 on the spreadsheet.
Whichever.
Fourth, I think I said decent.
We'll go down the revenues and see where we're at.
Sure. You want me to go down, and we pretty much baselined everything with mid-year trending.
I hate this thing.
So, the only one that probably should catch your eye is the Public Works accounting revenue, which, as we anticipated all those years ago when we started at like 2.25, and as it's evolved and we've gotten better and better at it, and Lynn moved out, we've gone back through to make sure we're, as accurate as possible, and our revenue there will go from 170 down to 155. By the way, that's not a surprise. That's just good over time.
It still represents 40% of our accounting effort. So if you add up our accounting salaries and benefits, 40% is still supported by Public Works.
Like to say, everything else is pretty much baseline.
You think you're gonna meet your 2017 projections for revenue?
Yeah, here's it. Looks like we're on track.
Yeah, and I mean, the big missing element right now is the payment from Public Works, that we haven't received any of yet.
It's just 200.
See anything, Keith?
Well, what I'm seeing in revenues as of 9/30, the budget, 353,000, and we collected so far 134. I just wanted to make sure that that's timing or...
Part of it is we're finalizing the billing to Public Works.
Yeah, I see the Public Works one, they're missing all the other. Like one, the other one would be the auditors, filings, and recordings. I guess that's on file, 98 out of 130.
I think everything else looks to be pretty close to on target. It's just the billing that's in the process of going out to Public Works.
Yeah, the 98 over 130 is like 75%, so that would be a good 3/4 of the year figure.
Okay, going to expenditures.
Really, we have no requests, and there's a little cleanup there for professional services, to clarification of the professional services courier. But other than that, we're have no requests.
What's that last line, expense registration, what's like that? Is that registration for conferences, or, so it's different than training and certification? Just broke out for us, the registration?
Yeah, the training certification has more to do with like the internal auditor certification.
Oh, gotcha.
Questions on that?
I'm good with that.
Next one's the 80th licensing.
Licensing.
So at the end of September, our revenues are 387,997, which is actually about 78% of budget, so we're a little ahead of projection there.
That one's pretty straightforward.
Very straightforward, right?
Good morning. Yeah.
Would it be okay if we did the auditor O&M next, and then I'll step out and let our new administrator for elections come up? Would that be all right?
Sure. It's okay with Mr. Cook?
Sure.
Let's see what page is that. So it's the 102 fund on page 53.
All this paper and home fit with all three of us up here.
Need a bigger table, huh?
Yeah. Okay.
What's auditor O&M? This is document preservation. Pretty straightforward. We're installing new software this year. Reporting software.
The document preservation revenue, what's the source of that? Is that just a fee that you guys charge? How is it separated from the reporting surcharge? Help me understand the distinction between those two lines as well.
Well, so, I mean, I can tell you it's a $5 fee that's added. One goes to the commissioners, it's the commissioner's dollar for historical. And then there's two goes to the state, two does. It's, you know, statutorily, it's pretty tight as far as what it can be used for and how it's used. And they accrue a lot of the money in some counties that don't have enough, and there's some kind of a formula based on the state's portion and our portion. So, I mean, the only thing we've done on O&M over the years is try to, try to be mindful of the cost and get as much value as we can to build it up. I have a suspicion at our last auditor meeting that, the state looking for money may look at that. And so, for us to be able to preserve our documents going forward, we just try to be there as long as we can. Some people build up so much, I think even in the past, there's been attempts to hire people out of it and do some different things, and I think, anyway, doesn't really directly answer your question.
Yeah, I'm more asking about the revenue side of it. How you code something that's document preservation revenue versus recording surcharge revenue.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have an answer for it. I can get it for you. We actually have a spreadsheet that breaks down all the different RCWs that breaks out the fee specific. I'm not sure what dollar amount from the recorded documents goes to that, but we can find out for you.
Just curious. Okay.
And the next one down, the historic preservation, that's that dollar that comes back for the, what's that, 3,500 in there? Is that dollar you're talking about for the commissioner's historic preservation?
Like Jeff says, there is quite a bit of breakdown. There is a dollar that goes into the 103 fund for historical preservation. This is the 102 fund.
So what's this go to? Line item 1680.
Historical preservation fund. Common 10.
Yes, it may just be a description, maybe duplication. Yeah, if you look.
But your $1 revenue wouldn't show up on here. It would
Well,
show up on 103, but that particular, well, so it has to do, again, it's the complexity of where the documents and where the different fees are sourced from. So that's a revenue, and there is a historical preservation, function within our O&M as well as the commissioner's dollar. So
It's showing commissioners here, so that's what.
In the 103 fund, there's the same description, so maybe we need to get in the system and change that. So there's a dollar going in.
Reading the description.
Yeah. Okay.
There's a dollar going into each fund. It's just the description is the same currently.
I guess this is more education than the home security fund administration fee. Help me.
On what, as far as what that is? Well, I'll tell you what it is from an auditor standpoint. There's only so many conduits the state can generate revenue through, and the recording department seems to be,
Easy one.
yeah, and so they change often, they redirect them, the descriptions of what they can use that for changes. So, I'm more than happy to. The home security fund? Yeah. Is it? Right.
What's the interfund loan?
That's interest.
That's for the election equipment that we purchased.
Oh, okay.
misses them.
So just the duplication.
Here's the one in 103, here's one in 102. I mean, they had a different,
You just change some
Yeah,
lines
different
around
line.
here and just see that, like you say, your beginning fund balance went from 250 to 155.
Sorry, were you looking at? He's on the beginning fund, so that was the interfund loan. I'm sure we did an interfund loan to purchase the election equipment.
we didn't sign it correctly or something. Would be my guess.
The loan was to the elections fund?
Correct. From 102 to 104.
Jeff, how much was the recording software? Okay, so that was what
No, no, I'm sorry, did you say election or recording?
recording?
Recording was like 40,000. What we did have is a little bit of unexpected there. Other than that, we had to upgrade the server and do some minor upgrades to the desktops, and we have to get new scanners.
So that'd be one reason why the fund balance lowered as well.
And that's currently being configured, and we'll be testing it and hopefully operational. We're saying first quarter of next year, but we're hoping in January we'll be actually on the upgraded version of it. Same company and everything, just they've upgraded it.
And this clerk office supply is ratty.
This is really saying
Yeah, so,
what you have.
I mean, this fund is for the preservation of documents across the county, so each department or elected has access to it, and that's the clerk's. So it's allocated through the committee and he spends it as he needs it.
Right.
I know you're just doing some code work, aren't you? Codifying some stuff. Would that expense be eligible through this?
I don't know if that's ever gone too far. I think it's gone through the commissioners, but I'm not sure.
We can certainly, if it's something you're interested in, there's a way to look at it.
What we've done, I'm comparing a little bit too, there's still, when Mary and I went through the process of making sure that all commissioner records were fully microfilmed and so forth, we were pretty much caught up, but we've got to go back and get some years caught up. And so we have some money certainly for helping with that. That's primarily what's been used for is microfilm.
Right.
So,
Preservation fees.
I just didn't know if that coding, that codification is what you call it, or?
for the work.
Okay. You were wondering where the money was going to come from to code that, or if the code's brought up. Right. Yeah, I know, but many codes, that coding is, wouldn't that be eligible to come out of the clerk's?
We could certainly research and see where it's come out of in the past. And, but I don't think that's come out of the auditor. it may have come out of the commissioner's reservation dollars.
We can certainly look into it. I mean, it's
Yeah, I'm just curious if it's eligible or not.
Sure.
With it.
Yeah, that's what the money's for, so if it's, the RCW is pretty clear, I don't know if that qualifies. What I'm saying is you take a look at
Me
it.
too.
Sure.
No, just a thought.
It's worth looking at, if there's some chance.
Okay.
All right.
Anything else, Keith?
We can go back to the elections now.
Yeah.
That's right, that's what you say.
Tim just upgraded the software, I think.
It was called that in the, it's essentially the same line in the 102 line. The name.
You don't know what they call them.
See, your off-year revenue is that,
So the revenue in the odd year is lower because in the odd years, the state does not pay a portion of election costs and neither does the county. So we're looking at school election in February, that would be fully reimbursed. And then in August and November, it will just be PUD that will pay for those costs.
not much to do with the revenues.
Say that again.
See, there's not much you can do with
We
the,
expect to be on target for the 2017 revenue.
Yeah, and in the elections community, there's some discussion, some counties actually pay in, they actually pay in. Franklin doesn't. They do, but they don't. I mean, it's kind of 6 one way, half dozen the other, and a way to manage that when you get the big drop, disparate amount. But there is other ways to handle it. We don't. I mean, we could look at it, but it's,
what do you
Years
mean when
like
you
this.
say pay in?
well, they actually get billed, the county itself gets billed for the election.
Oh,
And, Franklin County historically, I don't believe has ever, the county's putting the election on. But the point is internally, there's, in the elections community, there's discussions on, some counties do, the county will pay into that portion of the budget. It's a luxury, if you ask me. It's, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, this county makes sure elections are conducted, but that's where you get this big fluctuation. So. On the revenue.
that obviously reflects down on the expenditure side also, as far as the off-year.
Expenditures will pretty much stay the same because we're still having to hold the election.
I mean, you do see it, the 17-18 difference. I think that's probably turnover, departure of the prior elections administrator.
I guess I don't see anything else there either.
Talk to us a little bit about the two requests, 1420 and the 5,000.
So the 1420 is for the PO Box fee. I believe historically it's been coming out of the postage shipping and freight lines. We're just trying to better reflect what it is, what that expenditure is. So that's put in the post office box line. We did not decrease the postage line because postage rates are going up in 2018. And then the 5,000 is for a tuition reimbursement request. It's for learning employee, and she would have to take a year-long course in election administration.
So the PO Box fee is not really a new request. I mean, it's
Yeah, you're just
PO Box
singling that out.
That's
all
where
right.
balances come back to us. So it really,
Yeah.
not very exciting, is it?
Depends.
We don't really want you to spice it up, but if you feel like you must.
wraps it up.
The other one is the 104. Just the elections revolving.
That's page 56.
Help me understand better the distinction between the 104, election equipment revolving fund, and the current expense piece of elections. Where's the separation?
I'm sure you guys can do a better job, and mostly it's to replace equipment. So it's a fund that we purchase equipment out of, then we build these agencies after each election.
Yeah,
And
so
there's also
you
maybe-
build depreciation to build back up to replace replacement. But then money passes in and out of it too for.
We have salaries and wages and operating expenses. So I'm just trying to understand the distinction.
Well, the salaries and wages in there is part of and the reason it's in there is that we build this out. And so that has to do with our statutory requirement for bilingual and outreach. So that's why the one employee is in this fund, is it is fully covered.
While he's looking, I do have one question. It's not directly budget related. It's kind of facilities related. I've had several conversations with our extension at WSU and had some communication from the health district regarding the use of that Clark building. And I'm curious to know from your perspective kind of what you see as long-term viability of the elections office over there. Is that functional space, is it working well? Is it-
It's designed for, yeah, I mean, it's designed to meet the requirements of, you know, security and the accountability of the election itself. Yeah, the space was originally, I believe, designed specifically for that. You know, there's a ballot involved. Is that the question?
Yeah, just long-term, what do you see? Is that hindering or helping your ability to conduct elections in Franklin County?
Franklin County has one of the best elections facilities, you know, as far as for the size of the county. It's, in my estimation, past and present commissions have made doing it right a priority, and it's reflected in that facility. So I'm not, it's great because it's right next to the post office, you know, there's a whole issue there as far as.
It's not ideally functional for WSU and what they're trying to do, and they'd like us to, if we're going to continue to keep them there, make some modifications in there, but those are budget questions kind of related more to that than there.
We use their bathroom, and we don't have to rent a bathroom for where we're at, but I mean, it's, you know, I've never, you know, with the new system, you know, we will have, it'll be a little bit different, based on the way we process, and we're doing it for the first time now, so we'll have a better idea that way. But as far as actual functional use of the building, it's ideal to meet the statutory, you know, the statutory requirements of viewing and security and handling and processing. So it is, you know, if you need any more in-depth, I mean, I know there's been discussions of selling the building and all kinds of things. So, I know you know, since I've been there, you put a new roof on, there's some storage in the basement, there's a number of things there, but it's just, we're very satisfied.
It's meeting your needs for the time being, I guess.
I think in the foreseeable future, I mean, we've grown, we've gone from the low 20s to the low 30s, 50% increase in that facility could continue to handle that for sure. It's done and done right by the commissioners, including the fixtures. Extremely happy. Almost it was. Yeah, I guess that's a key piece is that most of that was small, not
Yeah, so we did a remodel of the building, on the election portion of the building. That was actually done with HAVA funds.
With what funds?
With HAVA funds.
Health America.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So there's always some issue there too if we make some kind of a change.
I was going to say, are there still strings attached to that?
I believe so. Based on the amount that was put into it, or was bought with it, and what you have to do with it. When we make changes to the top of purchased equipment or whatever, there's a whole chain of command and documentation and stuff that goes along with those dollars.
Very good.
Anything on this you want to highlight?
The 70,000 you've got for repairs and maintenance, is that pretty much an annual expense for repair and maintenance of election equipment, that much?
Yes, is the answer to your question.
They understand, but yeah, just I don't pretend to have
It's like the yearly maintenance agreement, isn't it, on the equipment?
Yes.
Training and the certification, is that the same 5,000 you had in the elections budget?
The answer is Bob, we're gonna have to, that's, I mean, I think that's just a carry, it looks like that was something from, prior administrator. Carry that forward. So we can look at that, I mean, it's within the 104, but I think it's, so I can get you the answer on that. Well, I'll look back at her budgeting documents.
That's kind of why I was asking about the distinction between the current expense piece versus the revolving fund piece, which is what can be spent out of revolving. Obviously, we have a bigger hurdle to get over with the current expense piece. So if we could pay for it out of the revolving fund, it makes it easier to approve that.
Right.
So if the certification or the tuition reimbursement can be paid out of the revolving fund, it's going to be easier for us to make that happen. So I just, look at that and let us know if that works. That would help us.
What's the, and you're down towards the bottom of this, the capital outlay for equipment, elections, and a PIN recording.
It's essentially just contingency, so that all revenues are budgeted for expenditures, so that we didn't have to open up the budget later on. It's just a contingency line.
Okay, because it was at 140 in it. 17 and only spent 2,500. And you want to add another 4,500 onto it.
It's entirely just to budget all of the revenues. To budget, to spend everything so that you didn't have to open it up mid-year if something happened.
Anything else? They got us? Unless you can help us out with more revenue someplace.
If I have that power, I'm not sure I'd be sitting here.
Don't have a printer downstairs, huh?
No.
Forget a short break for release.
One thing I would say is that there's some pretty good resources from the governing magazine that we all get, the elected officials. And a number of years back, I was able to get a number of those books, and you know, it lays out some different ideas and how to attack budgeting shortfalls, and kind of gives us some ideas. I mean, we have the reality of the things we're trying to do, but it also gives kind of a framework on how an entity prioritize what we're trying to do, and then kind of means test or evaluate the usefulness of budgeted items, so you don't, you know, like you don't get a across-the-board cut on 100% of the shortfall, that kind of thing. Maybe you pass out a portion of the shortfall. Anyway, it's just interesting. It goes into how you can kind of get in and find things and keep the priorities. The priorities may be, you know, obviously, you don't want to make a cut where it would like force us to, or force them to have fewer hours. You know, depending on what the commissioners decide is the priorities. Hey, here's what we want to do: is this, this, and this, and then. So it's a great resource. From, you know, it's a little harrowing every budget cycle, it appears. You know what I mean? But
Not my favorite time of year.
no. But anyway, there's some great ideas in there on methodology to approach it. So I'm sure we can bring that up. I know it appears to be an especially challenging this year.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think we can take a 15-minute break. Yeah.
Three points, really. I can score 3 points. That is really good. Can we make lines on this report?
You ready? Everything's. Okay, Kelly, we'll work down through the revenues first and get some. Anything you want to highlight for us?
If we're looking at 1480, the prosecuting attorney revenue,
Right.
nothing to highlight. We've
gone down a little bit for legal services that we're charging to Public Works and Track, and that's just based on, the work that they submit to us. It hasn't been as high as what we projected in the past. And I think everything else is pretty much the same. We've had a little bit of an increase in public records requests. And everything else I think is pretty much the same as it was in the past.
Of course, that prosecutor salary, that's state driven.
Exactly.
Hi, Sean.
Hello.
So other than Public Works and Track, you expect to be on target for revenues for 2017?
Yes.
Any other questions for us?
Not on the revenue side, on the expenditures.
We just have a couple of small increase requests on expenditures for Fund 1480 for a prosecutor, and that was outlined in our request. We had an increase in the cost of bar dues for our attorneys, and then just a small increase in cell phone reimbursement having to do with feathering of the surface for the elected surface, and then cell phone reimbursement. And then we requested $1,900 increase for travel because we've got some increase in ceiling requirements. Our chief deputy position usually attended the summer WAPA training every other year, and now he has to attend it every year. And we just, our number of attorneys has made the increase necessary to increase that one position about a year ago. And then just a small other increase for the cost of the rental rates for the vehicles. Yes, pretty close. That was a decrease for the lines for the rental rates, just a small decrease. Our child support line 1500, we've already submitted our preliminary budget to the state child support, and it's been approved.
You say that all has been approved?
Yes.
Got the same question here as I did on the other one. 480 is 2017 revenues. Budgeted 486, showing the collected 228. Sound about right?
I didn't hear what you said.
Is the question because the 2017 budget's for 486, but to date we've had 228?
Yeah, I just want to make sure that we're on target for reaching our goal for 2017.
I would guess that we won't reach our goal all the way. I'm not sure if 2017 is that through June probably?
That's through September.
I don't have those numbers in front of me, but, yeah, we did have, a support staff, legal secretary position that we did not fund for this entire year, but they were written into the budget. So that's making a difference for the revenue, but everything that,
There's an offset reduction in expenditure for that, right?
Yeah, there's no cost for any of the full-time employees in child support as a direct reimbursement for anything that we spend for supplies or, so we get a direct reimbursement.
So while that would be anticipated to receive those revenues, that would only be because we've expended those. So our expenditures would go down somewhat. I still find it odd that it's close to
Yeah, this is current expense.
I've tried to move some of the supporting departments out of cash flow. It's hard to
Time in the billing.
It looks like they've received it through the month of July for the grants.
Okay.
For the grants, the last one that we've received is the July payment, so there's still 5 more months left on the grants.
That seems a little bit closer.
Yeah, a lot of times that's the answer. It's a timing issue or a building issue, but I just want to make sure that we're not missing something.
Anything else?
Oh, no, I'll talk about 114, I'm with his witness.
Page 63.
That one should be looking pretty good. An increase in our grant as in previous years, so is paying for our crime victim coordinator, almost 100%. So our crime victim budget is looking a lot better than it has in the last couple of years.
Is there a change in the grant?
Actually, yes, they increased the amount.
It's like almost double.
I know you're having cash flow problems over there for a while.
What's that?
Oh, you're having cash flow problems a little bit.
Yeah, we were suffering, we were starting to get worried about that budget, but for right now, obviously we're at the mercy of that budget, or that grant, but I've already submitted the grant for 2018 and it was approved, so we are expecting that money for.
That's a DOJ grant, correct?
Yes.
Federal, but it didn't say.
I think it goes to the Department of State.
Tell me your assessment of what's at risk there. We've had some trouble in other areas of the federal government following through on what we thought were FEMA payments. We've had PILT payments that we thought we were receiving that were not.
They keep in contact with us pretty regularly, and we did get, I think everybody got that letter saying all the grants were at risk there at the end of the year. But I've never seen it we watched it get reduced quite a bit, but they're making it sound like things are good, but, they usually keep in contact with us and give us a lot of notice if something's going to happen.
What state agency does this come through? Is it
It's the Department of Commerce.
Commerce? Okay.
Pretty much a pass-through.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I don't have anything else. This is appreciating, the past support. We've been able to kind of stabilize things and work things in the office, work, more of us work. We are looking at a 15% increase, so you'll probably see more on the expense side for Office of Public Defense, because our current levels of case filings, we're at 50% increase from where we were last year. Sometimes it slows down in November, December, but if we're on track, I just divided up the number of cases that we have now on a 12-month basis, and if we did that, we'd be looking at 50% higher than our case filings last year.
15?
15%. That's on the felony side of it. But that's typically where the more expensive cases are at, expensive contracts with the Office of Public Defense. So just if you, I don't know if you met with Office of Public Defense yet, but that'll be probably an issue that might be raised, because I know for them, we might be able to absorb it. We've passed the record mark of 200 cases, like open cases set for trial. We've never exceeded that, and I think I've seen as high as 209 cases that were currently set for trial. We know cases settle resolved week to week, but just so you know, if I'm seeing that on my end, we absorb that workload within our office, and it causes temporary increases of activity for our deputy prosecutors. But on the side of public defense, they're limited by case count. So if we have that increase, that means they're going to have to increase potentially 50% more. And that's just for this year, so it's hard to predict, but I'm guessing that we're probably on track to, as we have a growing population in the community, we're probably being that upward trend of filings rather than a decline. Unfortunately, we could always hope. Everybody starts obeying the law, that'd be great.
Not everybody.
We could close the jail because no one's needed a house there anymore, that would be good.
Yeah.
But I don't see that happening.
There's some prosecutor's discretion involved.
What's that?
Is there some prosecutor's discretion involved in what they charge with?
I got it. And that's the thing too, just to advise the board, those are felony case filings, but what has really assisted us is the opportunity, we worked with Lawrence on the mental health felony diversion, so we've actually been able to route cases that we feel are appropriate to diversion. I think we have approximately 30 cases already this year that have been routed there into that program. So we're starting to see the first graduates from the program, so we're starting to see some of the benefits of this, but that significantly reduces costs and case tie-ups that might have otherwise taken a while and been added to the 200-plus number for current trials. So that's been a good option, plus our penalty diversion seems to continue to do well. We just pulled up a project that was done in my office just to kind of evaluate how effective our felony diversion program is from 2011 forward. And it's the people that complete, 85% have remained crime-free.
So you're able to track those?
Yes, so what we're doing is what we did with this project is we pulled the criminal histories of those individuals that have successfully completed the diversion program. That diversion program can be either 12 months at a minimum or up to 24 months. And usually it's extended only because there's a need of treatment or if there's a need for repayment of restitution. Our victims like that because oftentimes we're dealing with property crimes, so it expedites the payments rather than a $10 a month. They're actually getting their money back as best as a victim can be restored for being deprived of property. They're receiving that financial restoration in a much expedited fashion than what's happened in the past. So that's proven to be a good program. And even of the percentage of individuals that don't successfully complete the program, which is approximately 50% of those individuals remain crime-free. So even people that have fallen out of the program for one reason or another, 50% of those have remained crime-free. The other 50% have either committed a misdemeanor or a secondary felony offense, which we're prosecuted with. So the thing that we're looking at is we reduce the workload of our office as well as it's kind of a different workload in our office because we have to manage the program for 12 to 24 months, but it's different than prosecuting a case in a superior court. You won't have the additional cost of the felony level Office of Public Defense because they provide defenders through our district court because that's how we handle the felony diversion program. It's the district court, so it's a different contract system. For the most part, that's a pretty effective method to keep talking about prosecutor discretion. That's one thing that we can do. Try to work with boards, try to develop a program to put in cases of drug court. So I think all of those are doing what I guess we can as far as trying to conserve resources and most importantly what we do is promote community safety that we have some control and discretion. That's all I want to add.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Left for the long duties today.
Everybody left.
All right, thank you.
Thanks. I think that takes us to lunch until 1:15. Yep. That's on time today.
Being efficient.
Recess until. Go ahead and get started. If you give us talk about your revenues a little bit.
What questions did you have, Commissioner?
Well, just give us any highlights of your revenues that you.
Well, Ruby and I did meet with
Mr. Johnson a week or so ago to let him know that some of our revenue lines are actually down this year, and kind of give a little background history as to why that happened. The main one is our collection fee that we charge $100 per case per offender, and that's down because when we bring them into court, they're being PR'd, they're not being held, the judges are not enforcing the collections like we used to because of some case law that's come out of the Division 3 and the Supreme Court of the state, basically tying their hands on what they can or can't assess. And so they've been slashing a lot of those costs that are not mandated in the legislature by state law. So the revenues in our other lines, our filing fees, those are up or on track to be where we expected them to be at the end of the year. But the collections, mainly the 341, 3404 line is the one that's down.
What number is that again, Mike?
341, 34040. Under it's titled Re-Im Collection Costs.
Line 321 on that.
It's like the fifth one from the bottom if you have the same word. It's a little different.
So everything else is pretty stable or has gone up. There's a couple of gone down in small amounts.
Passports are up $18,000 what I budgeted.
You see your Superior Court other penalties are down 10. Is that kind of the same discussion or?
Down a little bit, but not. I think that'll be okay for the end of the year. Those are other fees and costs that we receive in.
No, what I'm seeing is you have 66.5 for 17 and 56.5 for 18. See what line I'm talking about?
See better in this one than not.
351,91,000.
Superior Court other penalties.
Yeah, that's just an average of what it was over the past 4 years, what we did. So that 56.5 is just an average. It's up for this year, but that's just an average. So it could go up. It just was an average over the past 4 years. Average that out.
I go back to the $300,000 budget for collection costs. If I'm reading this correctly, as of 9/30, we've only collected 66,000 against that 300. I know you told me we talked about it being low, but I don't remember. Did we estimate what you thought the end
We didn't get into that, no. And as of today, it's at 75,220. So we're at, as of this morning. Still substantially down. I know Tim had asked us earlier in the year, and we're hopeful that it bounce back up somewhat, even more than this, but it's kind of stagnant right now.
Well, is that the item that we put a couple of people on a couple of years ago to collect
About 5
this?
years ago. I mean, the work's still there, it's just that we're not able to collect the fines and fees that we were collecting before, because those are being cut in court.
Right. Anything else on that side? I don't know the expenditure side, but, yeah.
That's all status quo as it was this year, no increases.
Just a request for postage increase.
The postage?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were requested to do that by the auditor's office, 710 budget, I believe it is.
Yeah, actually, we're looking to move that into just your regular budget, I think.
That's the change for that. Before it was all this one pot of money, now it's being
Yeah.
dispersed throughout each department. So that's it on that side.
Page 64.
So the 117, you want to talk about that one, or the 116?
No, I got the 160 in front of me, but,
Okay, that's fine. That's our courthouse facilitator, Michelle Dahlman, contract provider. And those are monies that come in through filing fees and marriage license fees through the auditor's office. It's not a revenue generating line, so to speak. It's just to pay someone's salary who's on a contract.
What's in the professional services line that's not in the wages line?
Pardon me?
What's in the professional services line that's not in the wages line?
That's not in the wages.
9,000. requested for professional services?
I think that is the courthouse facility.
That is, that's salary.
There's also a salary, comes out of the regular salary line then?
There's 8,800 in the salaries and wages line and 9,000 in the professional services line. I'm just trying to understand the distinction. If it's just a contract payment to,
That's all it is. What was your question, Tom?
It looks like a duplication, that we have a salary like a regular payroll employee, and then we have a professional service line, similar amounts.
It's only salary that comes out of that. So it should be all merged together as a salary.
It's a contract payment, right? She's not an employee.
Correct.
Yeah. So it would be just professional services versus
Taking the salary down to professional services.
so does that get added into the professional services line, or is it a duplication?
It looks like a separate item.
You say it's a contracted?
it's contracted, she's not an employee, so we would, for her services, we wouldn't have all those other associated, social security, medical and dental, retirement, L&I, because she's not an employee.
Yeah. So who is being paid just the salary then?
Well, it should all be under professional services, one person. We should just clean that up and have it all moved into a line.
It looks like we're paying, I mean, there's professional services expenses incurred this year, 2017, plus salaries and wages and all of the benefits this year.
There shouldn't be any benefits for us.
It was for the one employee that it's being vouchered from current expense currently, if not already, to reimburse that, because it was a position that was budgeted. They have been budgeted in current expense previously that was being charged in that fund.
Okay.
So you can clean that up then?
Yeah, we're getting that, it should be vouchered.
I saw it in the system. I don't know if it was done or not. I saw that she had started entering it, but I don't know if it was completed yet. Okay. Okay.
But you still want to leave payroll costs in there for 2018 instead of removing them or put them in some other line? For 18?
Just professional services.
Just professional services. Sounds good.
Okay. Anything else in that fund, Steve?
No, good job.
170
17.
or 17, I mean, I'm sorry.
Those are funds that we receive a check from the state twice a year for collections. It's just an amount that's determined on filing fees from 2005, and then the state divides up 1.5 million and then disperses it to each clerk's office. And ours for next year will be $9,957 in revenue to the county. That account with that new revenue will be at 25,423.
What restrictions are there on its use?
It has to be used just for collections, period. It could be used for furniture, for staff, for consumables. We've used it in the past for some overtime here and there, but not much.
Just a pass-through.
So to speak, from the state, but then it's our actual revenue, county. We really say it's a grant. Sometimes I think you guys coded it as a grant at one time, didn't you?
Well, it's still coded as state assistance at 334. So it's a grant.
Yeah.
Anything else, Keith?
Can it be used to offset the cost of the current expense fund?
It could.
Is it a grant that's applied for, or is it just a function of the collection costs at the state level that are shared with the local jurisdictions?
It was a Senate bill back in '04, Senate Bill 5990, that just approved a 1.5 million that was given to the Department of Corrections at the time, to the clerk's offices, because we assumed collecting the DOC wasn't before. And then they used a percentage of criminal filings per county to determine how much funds each county would receive.
So, just help me understand, you collect it and remit it to the state, and they disperse it back?
No, the state collects this funds.
Okay.
It's actually just a, I don't know if the state gets the money anymore, but it's just appropriated by the state. And then it's just dispersed to the county.
So, it's an annual appropriation by the legislature that would require the legislature to take action to...
It's just approved it just says approved until the legislature decides to stop.
Okay. Very
Any other questions, Keith?
No, sir.
All right.
Thanks.
Right for the bad news.
Yeah.
Blame the judges.
I didn't even want to get into that. It's too messy.
But it should have been budgeted this year.
That's how they turned in the budget. Of course, that was kind of before they realized what was happening. They put a sale That's how it was turned in, so, put it in. I don't know, did I?
Gentlemen, hello. Look at the revenue side first. Right off the top, I see that court interpreter. I see you got a budget for 12, you collected 13.6 already. Is that abnormal or?
We have submitted for some extra funding and got a little bit, but it should be about 12 next year.
I don't really like this report that much. There's a lot of gaps. Dying. This is a traffic infraction. It's like split up into 2 lines now, I think.
Anything else on the revenue side, Kelly, that you think we should?
No, I ran the figures again this morning, and I think what we submitted is pretty, I mean, it's meeting the nine-month average, so I don't see any drastic changes from what we submitted.
How much is on the, I think they did.
The traffic infraction, you see that, it bumps up quite a bit.
We had more infractions.
Like it was that, I think based on like the year they split it recently.
Pardon? Say more patrolling on the street, or?
Well,
It got split between 2 different lines within like a year or two ago, didn't
It
it?
still is split, so one's higher and one's a little bit lower.
What's the other split?
Is that line 658?
yeah. 53, 54, 58.
Yeah, the one that you have the 128 on.
The 400,000 and 128,000.
Yeah, those two together.
You have 2 different line items?
It's just the barcode when certain years they change, so like one of them is probably from last year forward and we're collecting on older cases. And it's gonna be that way. I think I looked it up last year and sent you. It's not an email, but it's gonna be that way.
So because the way the state breaks the funds out that we send them.
The only thing that may change a little bit is under court cost recruitment. 357, 39001. We had a large amount of bail that was forfeited, and so that 50,000 may be a little more towards like 30,000. Those are things that are just hard to predict. That's when people don't show up to court and we take them
And then there's a process where they can get it back.
within a year.
So you take 15,000 out of that for budgeting purposes?
Right now, it's targeted for 32,000, so I mean, you could probably take it down to 35.
Which line was that?
3573901, court cost recoupment. Budget is preliminarily at 50,000, she's saying. Reduce that to 35.
What caused the change so much in the JIS trauma from 10,000 down to 1,500?
Which line are you looking at?
It's 353-1203. JIS/trauma.
That's another one of those that the bars code changed, so that would be older cases that we're no longer collecting on. And then, but if you notice, there's a JIS above it. There's several JIS bars codes.
Okay.
So,
Just the way the coding is.
and we're working with the treasurer's office on getting this worked out, because we had some stuff that was being quoted under the wrong numbers.
Is that failing to register vehicle, is that a coding issue? Is that now going into traffic infractions? 2017's budget is 18,000. Did I say that correctly? 17 is 18,000.
So,
Line 353100030.
and have we collected how much on that, the 12?
It was 12,000 in 2016.
See, and that's probably a coding, and that bars code is a GIS trauma bars code. That's what we're trying to work out with them.
6,200 in 2017 so far, looks like, through September 30th. On this, it's up on the screen right here, to leave this right here with no lines.
Can I put that in there for this year?
Correct.
Okay, so that's broke down. Okay, so that could be, that's running at 8,300.
There was only one receipt from just
Yeah, and
this
see
right
how it
here.
says, see to the right,
Yep.
it's supposed to go in that Mars code and not, it's supposed to go in JIS trauma, not that. So that's why I didn't put any money in there for next year. It actually belongs in the JIS trauma. And they didn't have the Mars code created in one solution, so that's what we're looking at.
Okay.
What's JIS stand for?
Judicial Information System.
So they've already been contacted on that.
Yes, it should be
Correct.
fixed. It's supposed to be fixed this month.
Okay.
So that Mars, if you pull that one, go back to regular. So the 353-1003, there's two O3s, and one of them's a JIS trauma that's down below, and I budgeted 1,500, but you could actually increase that since that money is supposed to be down there. The 353, 1203 line.
Well, this report is only through June, and that receipt didn't happen until September, so it's not even on here.
So the 1,500, you can increase that.
Which, down here?
Yeah.
To how much?
To 8,400.
8,400.
Just looking at your DUI penalties, you're dropping by about 11,000. Just trying to see what you collected 30,000 at the. So with that, you're scheduled. Dropping from 50,000 to 39,000. Let's see, collected 29,000 as of.
That's the 9-month average. So right now we're targeted for 38,000 at the end of the year.
Looks like it's behind previous years.
Any other questions on different revenues? Expense side,
On the expense side, besides salaries, the only increase that we requested was in the dues, $200 additional dollars. And the judges' dues have been raised. They were actually raised last year, so that line was a little short. So the request is $1,300.
everything else is stayed the same. Questions?
Straightforward.
Pretty consistent year to year.
Yeah.
On to the 270?
70s. Anything there?
Revenues in your 270 probation assessment for 2017 appear to be on target.
Yes, we're running actually like 400 a month more than what we budgeted.
And the only expenditure change request was 5,000. The transfer of probation, sign that one too. I don't see it. Maybe I missed it. Is it?
You know, I don't believe that was even in their request. I think it was in what was submitted by Public Works, and so,
And it was already.
so I added it for,
Last year to this year, it went from 40 to 45.
so I added it for the board's consideration since it was submitted in the Public Works stuff. that pays for the salaries of the person in.
The worker supervisor, and has the salary benefits and supplies. We transfer that into her budget.
Yes, I'm good.
Miscellaneous 128.
Was it page 67?
Like no changes whatsoever.
Contingency.
Mm-hmm.
What's the source of that? What's the source of the revenue in
This is
128?
the judge's salary. There was a House bill, and so we passed it, so 25% of the judge's salary is given back to the county.
From the state.
Correct.
Is there a board?
Yeah.
Are we good to go?
Good to go. Thank you.
Thank you.
We were trying it for 2 o'clock.
We've got disability and equalization.
Do you have any questions for the board organization? Just for the board?
I don't think so. Eric brought the budget to us a 10 days ago, I guess. Those things that you must pay, no matter what. Disability side.
It's very unpredictable as well.
Right.
So it's kind of one of those things that the situation, the recurring expenses could change tomorrow.
So we spent $57,000 out of a $110,000 budget. Any anticipation what the last 3 months are going to look like? Is that
what basically that is at any time one of the left ones could go into extended care and also next month you could have a $6,000 a month. Yeah, so we dropped it down from 140, I think, there was a 110 now or something.
We've dropped it when we've had a change in the number of members that we've been servicing, I think, over the last few years since I've been here, but we're hesitant to drop it because, as you say, it is a must pay. And it's unpredictable.
Is that pool of participants shrinking? I mean, is it or growing?
It won't grow at this point. We have as many as we're going to have. It will shrink over time.
Yeah. Okay. But it's not increasing.
It won't increase, no.
Well, not as far as participants, but revenue could increase.
Expenses could increase
certainly.
significantly, but the number of members will not.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I said.
Unless we hire a left one employee.
There is.
So that should be about the end of that one employee's out looking for a job.
Yep, I think the county's last left one employee was Rick Camp.
Yeah. County retired last year.
And they are covered by the entity they retired from. Like Ed Bush was left one, but he was out of Douglas, Chelan.
But he was under a retirement situation, I think. If we had an active one, though, we assume the liability. Is that true?
If we hired an active left one that was not retired, returned to work, and they retired from Franklin County, then yes, we would. But at this point, that's
when they hit
incredibly unlikely.
When they hit their 60s, whenever they qualify for Medicare, Medicaid, that becomes their primary, and this becomes their secondary. So this picks up what Medicare, Medicaid doesn't have, what they don't provide. So this is essentially their supplemental.
But the plan ended, what, in 77?
78 was the last round of left one employees.
Whether it's accurate or not, they make us do a little thing for the financial statements each year that estimates cost for the plan over coming years, and it shows costs increasing essentially steadily up to roughly 2037 or so, and that would be the highest part of the range of what they estimate at, like 275,000 or so a year at that point. Based on as the people get older, our costs will go up.
Rick is probably the youngest one left one we had, and
All right. Sheriff Latham was the left one.
Sheriff Latham was left one as well, I don't know, they're probably relatively close in age, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think those costs are just.
When is that calculated?
For the financial statement, so March or April, yeah, it's done every year.
So does that calculation, what are the components?
You put in, you have to put in the people's age, all the people left in the plan, their age, and then how much we've spent in recent years.
By individual or?
No, it's just by age group is what, and then just total spending.
So how long have we been calculating this curve since 2013?
Been done every year for as long as I know.
We've been accurate?
That's about when it started, I think. Well,
what's the peak? I can't see it very well. What's the 33?
It looks like it stops going up around 36 or 37 is where they show the top of the range.
Looks a little high for us, though, if we're printing 111 next year, and it's 160, 170.
Yeah, that's strange, because it's under 150 now, and has been.
Is one of the components where in the state it is? I would think the average, like, could be, if we were in Seattle, maybe it would be.
No, it's just the number active, it's the male or female, and then number active in the age range for each one, and that's pretty much it, and then the amount that we've paid into it each
We have
year.
a healthier than average population.
Well, the only thing that bothers me, that scale, we haven't hit the 150 mark yet since I've been on the board.
But judging by, as the surviving people get older, it looks like it's going to go up
Well, I can understand that, but
quite a
the
bit.
graph shows, 25,000 more in 2018 than what, and almost 100,000 more in whatever that first 13. So it's interesting the way that graphs out, because we haven't spent that kind of money yet.
Maybe it's a trend will follow, but our graph is lower.
And, it could be one of those things where just the number of them end up in the press ones at the same time.
It's probably based on averages, right?
But yeah, I think it's averages, and I mean, who knows, maybe we're low right now, but then maybe at some point we jump above that range too.
Well, in reality, there's gotta be no more county left employees coming on. So like right now there's 7.
Mm-hmm.
So you're never gonna have a number greater than 7 in the county. So you guys have set your formula on this based on the state's formula, right?
Mm-hmm.
And these are highs.
Well, I mean, you enter in the county's information as far as for each age range you put in how many people are in that range, whether they're retired or active or retired, age range, how many are in that, and then whether they're male or female, and then it spits out.
So in theory, if someone dies off,
Your costs are going to go down, yes.
yeah. It's not passing on to anybody else. Who's alive and kicking.
We don't talk about that.
Correct, but there's 3 right now in the lowest range, and as they move up, that's why the curve goes up
Sure.
is because of, as these ones get older.
So you got two people at 90+ years?
No, this one's over 75 years old. Over 75 years old, 69 to 74, 65 to 68.
You need to divide them between cops and firemen. Then you develop your risk factors even more.
I don't think we have any left one fireman.
Yeah, actually, you do. I'm trying to think of the one guy lived down out of Basin City was the fire chief, county chief. One of our careers name right now. And you got McDonald, right?
Who's that?
Yeah, he was a firefighter.
McDonald?
His son was a paramedic firefighter in Pasco. He lived down out of 48.
Well, he shouldn't be on here if he was Pasco firefighter.
His son was
His
Pasco.
son was Pasco.
Oh, okay.
Probably, and the other one I'll mention is Wally Bradley, 75 plus.
Who do you try to think of up north, Jim? I mean, we're at?
Yeah, actually outside of Basin City, he was a farmer, but he was also the battalion chief for District 3 here. Chief, I see you talk to him sometimes, I can't think of his name. But yeah, you're not gonna get any more than that.
But he wouldn't be on our listing.
Sure he would.
Not for a Fire 3 employee.
Yes, he would. And it could be Wally Bradley too, because it's Wally Bradley. He was a left one. Is that right?
Yeah, but I really want names on there. I was thinking about it, but I don't want to. But yes, I do.
All right. Anything else today?
I thought this was not
Damage
detailed
today.
Yeah, this group.
So we got a reprieve until next Monday.
Should I say Phoebe? Wouldn't that be tragic?